You're not completely convinced on the whole value of content marketing. Is that the case? What's it going to take? What do I need to do to convince you? Am I going to need to scare you? Do I need to frighten you into understanding the value of content marketing? That's what I'm going to try to do in this Halloween episode of Corporate Video Critics. Hello and welcome to Corporate Video Critics, media tips for communications professionals. My name is David Spark, your host, and today's episode is 5 terrifying consumer behaviors that will scare you into content marketing. Here they are. Number 1, 90% of B2B buyers never respond to cold outreach. In other words, if you're doing cold outreach, essentially pinging people with, blatant advertising that they're not eager to see or have not sort of raised their hand showing interest in, you are wasting 90% of your money. Maybe not a good way to spend your money. You have to create more content that people are electing to see. Number 2, up to 17 people can influence an enterprise B2B purchase. This is extremely important to understand, especially for expensive B2B purchases, of which many people essentially put their input in to make a purchase that's 5, 6, sometimes 7 figures in cost. And I'll give you a good example of this, of how we sort of succeeded and failed at the same time and yet succeeded in the end. We did a project for Microsoft many years ago about the whole topic of hosted versus self-hosting an email server. And we'd created a wiki about it and invited network administrators to talk and engage about this topic. And we got a lot of very positive conversation. But where we fell short is they said, yes, this is good information, but it is not in a format that I can show to my CEO. Fortunately, we were able to assemble a one-sheet cost analysis that the network administrator could then hand to their CEO. So the network administrator was one of the 17 people who's part of that decision-making process. The CIO trusts the network administrator, and now the network administrator gives the sort of next content asset to the CIO so that they can make their decision. Number 3, online buyers go through 57% of the buying cycle without talking to a salesperson. If so much information is being gathered before they ever talk to you, they are being educated. Now, how are they being educated? Do you know? Can you type in search terms? And get your content? Are you connected with influencers who are talking about your content? If no, then you need to start creating content that can be discovered on the key terms that people search to find your information. And you need to also talk to the influencers in the space, the people who are writing, creating this content, and make sure they know about you and the solutions that you're providing. Number 4, 3/4 of users never scroll past the first page of search results. So, in all your effort to create content, if you have not created content interesting enough or compelling enough, or others have not read it enough to be on the first page of search results, you are essentially wasting a lot of your money because no one is ever seeing it. You have to work a lot harder to get your content to the first page, and it takes a lot of work to do that. And there are techniques on getting it there. And one technique we found is very, very successful is to get a lot of people involved in the content, especially influencers. The more influencers involved, that sort of raises the profile of your content as well. And the very, very last statistic that should scare you into content marketing is, on average, email lists deteriorate 22.5% every year. Yes, your email list is not going to be as strong as it is this year as it was last year. You have to work on constantly nurturing the list and growing the list, because the people who were interested last year, many of them will fall off and not be as interested in it this year, or they'll just sort of move on and actually your emails will no longer be valid, if you will. All right, if you found this valuable, please subscribe to the Corporate Video Critics. We will actually provide a link also to that infographic that Square 2 Marketing provided that all these stats came from. And we also have lots and lots of more videos for you to watch, all on the topic of media tips for communications professionals. If you have a comment, you want to sort of add something to the discussion, please leave it in the comments below. We'd love to hear your suggestions for further topics on corporate video critics.